Hey everybody, how are you? It's Miriam here at Paper Wheel Studio. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. We are warming up in the Mid-Ohio Valley. It was so cold here for us. Belly bands. If you're new to junk journaling, you're probably wondering what a belly band is. However, a belly band kind of goes across the belly of your journal, so to speak. Where's the belly? At a halfway point or somewhere there around. Truth is, a belly band can go on a page either direction you want. This one is what you would refer to as a vertical belly band, and you simply have it glued at the top and bottom, and then you can slip a journal card, envelope, really anything that you would want to in there. I do not put gussets on my belly band. If you have a gusset, whatever you put under it's likely going to just slide all around, and it's not going to work unless you're really going to put a lot of stuff under it. And I don't recommend doing that in a journal. So that is one type. And I do not have any in this journal, but if I were going to say create a belly band on this page, I wanted a horizontal belly band, I could use something maybe even like this piece of ephemera, cut it off, cut this red end off and glue it right across the center. I would glue down here and glue down here, and then you'd have a horizontal belly band. You can decorate them. I've seen some very elaborate belly bands on YouTube. So if you do a search, you'll find all different kinds. Everybody has their own way for doing them. I prefer the vertical ones, like my tiny little envelopes, which this idea came from, I think it was My Porch Prince, who did one because she had a bunch of little envelopes in one of her digital kits, I believe. So that wasn't my idea. However, it's the idea in general is why I wanted to bring that up and show you today. It's just it's the whole idea in general. You can take something that you have a lot of, stick it down on, this doesn't even have any cardboard in the back because these are pretty heavy, and I stuck them together pretty good with glue. I just used a bunch of little tags, and I had sticker labels. I didn't even ink them. So if I were going to use this in a journal, which it would be, if I were to use it here, I would have to cut off the bottom two. And I would probably just cut across there to do that. But belly band's something you can make in advance, and you can really use anything. I've seen some people use stamps and create a belly band, buttons, material, laces, all kinds of ribbons, embellishments, and things like that. These are, okay, get these out of the way here. And I don't want them in my ephemera puddles, my ephemera pots, because I don't want to have to take them out here in a minute. And these are the ones we did online the other day. If I wanted, I could cut this down a little and use it in here, but it really is just too long, too narrow, or excuse me, too wide for this little journal. The height I could get by with, but it really it's just not the right size, I don't think. But it could go in a larger journal as a side tuck, or it could just be simply, it was designed to be put across your page. So if this page here is your journal page, it would just go across the page like that, and you would glue it down on both ends and trim off what you did not need on the sides for that to fit. And this could be embellished further with maybe a Tim Holtz person, or a cute little sticker of a person that you have, or maybe even some flowers, or further tiny labels, whatever you would like to put on them. You just have free reign. Just do it until you're happy. And then this is the other one we created when we collaged a belly band before. And it just goes down on the page. It would cover quite a bit of your page. And with this being kind of straighter on one edge, this could actually, rather than even a belly band, it can be used as a side tuck as well. So these pieces like this that you make are very versatile. You can use them as page trims, belly bands, whatever you might happen to want or like. So that is one way you can do a belly band. And I'm going to show you a couple more ways to create a belly band. I did not come up with these. I just am kind of putting the video together for you and showing you the different ways that you could create them from your papers. And I'll kind of have my own little twist to it a little bit as we go. So you may see, I don't recall who all the different, I watched so many videos, you guys, I can't go back and tell you exactly which artists did what, but there are several. I've seen them on multiple creator sites, so just get on there, and you probably even search hashtag junk journal belly bands, or even just, I don't know, journal belly bands or belly bands. You might get, if you don't put journal in there, you might just get all kinds of odd things. All right, the first one we're going to do here, I'm just using a book page. I brought along a 6x6 scrapbook page, so it is a little thicker. It's not cardstock, it's just that thicker paper. So I can fold one with this and show you how to do it as well. It's just with cardstock or a piece of heavier paper, it's going to be hard to get your folds on it without scoring it. But the book page you can usually just fold without any problem. And what we want to do is we're going to fold this over, and then we want to fold it back on itself. So it's kind of like being divided into thirds. They do not all have to look exactly the same size. They do not. So you don't want to come over this edge though. I like to bring it so that it's not over that edge and it's not over this other edge over here. So I'm just trying to get it to line up where I want it. And yes, I could have scored this. I didn't. So here we go. So I'm going to take, I know I have not cut the bottom, so I'm trying to make my bottom edges as straight across as I can when I do this. And then I'm going to push up and hope that my, oh, it slipped. And hope that when I try this again, it doesn't slip on me and stays folded where I want it to be folded. Then I'm going to look at the tops, make sure it's not folded well on this side, so I'm just going to put this down. And I went just slightly over my edge here, so I'm going to cut, and I don't care if I trim a little of my tree off here. So I'm going to come with my scissors and turn it upside down for a moment. And I'm going to cut since these are older book pages, I want it to have a nice straight cut here. So I'm going to just simply cut down through here and make sure it's even with the back fold. So you could have folded this other direction. However, I wanted to preserve some of the kids in this because I thought they would be very cute to be on the front of this. And then probably I could simply add and you don't want to be careful, you don't cut through that paper. See, I almost did there. You don't want to do that. So be very careful that you're paying attention and not talking to your people on YouTube and not paying attention to what you're supposed to be doing, like I am apparently. Oh boy. Okay. So, got that trimmed up. I'm happy with that. You could use a paper trimmer if you want to. Sometimes they just eyeball things and don't feel the need to do that. So now I have this trifold, and if you hold it up, it is a Z on the top. So you're just going to do like a Z fold. Fold it on itself and then fold it right back on at the same amount. Then you're going to come in here, well, first then you want to decide how long you want this to be in your book. So let me find a page here. I'm going to put it in my second signature because I don't want to have it right beside this other one that I put in here. Here we go. Oh, this will be pretty. I think, on this orange. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to lay my, let's lay this scrapbook piece here so that'll, won't take a lot of weight. There we go. And now I'm just simply going to measure it according to the orange page. Didn't bring a pencil to mark it, so I'm going to fold up a bit here on the bottom. Actually, I'm only going to fold up on the bottom, and I'm going to leave the top of the tree. I don't see any reason why I need to cut it on both ends if I can get by just simply cutting it on one. So I'm going to fold it, or at least somehow mark it where I want it. Let's do this. Scoot it over. That's at the top. We're at the bottom here. So I'm just going to make a little niche. And then pick it up so I can be sure that I'm cutting it as straight as I possibly can, which isn't often straight, but that's okay. All right, so now we have this, and we're going to glue this down first, and hopefully my glue is flowing. I did not check it before I started my video, so it may not be flowing, and we might have to come in with a glue stick. So let's just see what we got. Hopefully I have a straight pen within easy reach. I'm sitting beside my desk today. I know I may be wobbling, and I apologize, but I have a lot of projects on my desk that I've been working on and preparing for videos and things, and I just didn't want to move them all, so I'm recording on my table here. There we go. Now it should come out without any problem. So we're going to glue on the piece we folded over. Here we go. A little bit of glue down through here, or dots, or whatever, however you do your glues. Just a little tiny bit down through here. And I'm going to turn it the other direction and do the same exact thing. Don't have a lot of strength in that hand today. This is a two-handed glue job, I guess. Some days are just like that. I've lost sleep last night. My foot that I had the surgery on was bothering me last night. It's been few weeks out, so 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I had it done on the 30th, so it's been a month now, and I still don't have my, I'm going to spread this because I think I have enough there. Yeah, I do. It doesn't take much to hold a piece of book page. Like, this is kind of older book page. Hopefully it will maintain its strength in my journal. And it looks like, yeah, really can't, it's not that noticeable. It won't be noticeable when we ink it, so I'm not too worried. Now, we already glued that, so we can't change it, but we could have put this little girl on the front if we would have folded it differently. Depending on, you can just look and see what your, if you've got images, how you want them before you fold your paper, and then make a decision. You're going to have pockets going both ways, and if you put it down in the center of the paper, it's really not going to matter which way your pockets go, whether one's on top of the other or the other way around. It really makes no difference at all. Boy, that's really, it's either all over my pen or I've got a nice little cloth that I just keep pushing out of the way here. There we go. Maybe I got it. I don't know. I got glue on my pen, so let's see if it'll do it now. Again, I'm not putting it on the folded paper. I'm putting it on the other paper. Wow. You're going to make me abandon you and get other glue if you keep this up. Well, it should come out now. There's no reason it shouldn't. I did not bring... There it comes. Oh, yeah. I didn't bring my glue holder for filming today, so I'll try to put it in the cap and keep it upside down. If I don't bounce it off my table is the only problem. Again, I'm just going to spread this a little with my fingertip. Okay. And we get glue on my underneath papers. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I hope you can't hear that motor noise in the background, but if you can, sorry about that. My partner is pressure washing the front porch. Now, these kids here are going to be hidden, but wouldn't they be really cute on the front of something like this? Yeah, I think so. So, we have our little girl and half of our little boy, which is just fine. I'm going to glue it onto the page, and then I will show you how it works. I'm sure you probably already figured that out. But since I've got my journal right here, I'm going to glue it down to the page, and then I can still add labels or really anything I might want to decorate it up differently. Or you could even add lace or trim or anything. This does not fold out in any way. It is just a solid, and with putting the little tucky spots that we've added to this, the little tucks, you'd most likely want to put it in the center of your journal. That gives you more room for tucking things into it. And if you think about it, and this is why partly I may have said this earlier, and I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but I do not remember because that's how my brain's working today. If you put a horizontal belly band on, even if you don't use gussets, glue it down on both ends, things can fall out of the top and the bottom of your journal because that's where the belly bands open, at the top and bottom. If you use a vertical belly band, you're glued at the top and you're glued at the bottom, so it does not slide from the top out the bottom, or the top. It would slide out one side or the other. If it slides out this side, it's going into the spine. And if it slides out this side, it's likely there's going to be a closure here. So you win. It's a win-win either way. So that's how you do that. And you say this would be a journal card. You would have this spot here. And then you would have this spot here, and there, oh, that's under the belly band. Sorry about that. And then you would also have, and you can come along and put a tab on this, which I think that's what we'll do, so that someone can see that they're, in fact, do I want to punch a hole here and leave that paper down, and then punch a hole here and not on the bottom piece as this on the bottom? I think that's likely what I will do. I'm not going to punch anything at this moment. So I'm just going to lay my card back down here. And somewhere I have lost the interior that I had for my cards. Wow. Well, I guess we will be possibly cutting a new one, unless it's under this paper. Huh. I see it on my desk. I'm going to grab it. Not sure how it got there, but I'm going to grab it because I already got this pre-cut to fit this paper. This is just another book page that I showed you. If you have a larger journal, you could even fold something like this, and depending on how you fold it that way, you got the deer on the outside. if you come around and fold it this way, fold it over, and then back on itself, depending on how you do it, you'll have a skunk and a bear on there, and a little birdie. So it just really is all in whichever direction you want to fold that. It makes no difference if you're using a 6x6 piece of scrapbook paper. You would fold it in exactly the same way. You would have a fold like this and fold it over about 1/3 of the way. You could always score it at 2 and 4 and then fold it. I do sometimes score things in advance, but if I'm in the middle of creating something, to me it's annoying to go pull my scoreboard out. Yes, I folded a little crooked. I'm not going to worry. I'm just folding it for demonstration purposes today. So I would fold this over, and that's where it wants to fold, so that's where it's going to fold. And obviously I went crooked here, so let's pull it back up a little bit. Usually if you catch it before you get your crease all the way down, you can sometimes get it straightened out. That's a little better. I would straighten it out more if I were actually going to put this in a journal right now, but it's glued down that way. Then you have a spot here, because you'll glue the top and bottom on this page. Open this up, glue the top and the bottom, and then you have a tuck spot here, and then the whole belly band again underneath. These are wonderful if you for one-sided 6x6 papers, because these, even though the 6x6 is not quite as tall for this journal, that would still be a very appropriate belly band and tuck on a page. Since I already used this type in this journal, I'm only going to put the one in the journal. And I'm going to show you how we can do the other piece here that I have. This is some paper that I pre-cut. I have 2 pieces, and I cut my 2 pieces to be, this is my metric only, so if you are doing English measurements, divide it by 2.5 and it'll give it to you. It is slightly over 6 centimeters. And I cut both of them exactly the same. So that would make it what? 1, 2 would be 5, excuse me. 2.5 is 1 inch. Another 2.5 takes you 5. That's 2 inches. And I would say it's 1 point, whatever half of 0.25 is. 1.47 or something. I don't know. That's not right. Anyway, whatever that would be. I don't have a calculator and my brain's not thinking properly. Anyway, I cut them both the same size. And then after you get them cut, decide which one you want on the front. You'll see one of these, and the other one you will not see because it's going to be glued down to your page. Unless you just make this and fold it into a pocket somewhere. And I want to pick out a tab that I have up here that will kind of match these papers. So I'm going to see if I have a gray tab, a different color blue tab maybe. I could even use a brown tab. I have that brown. That would work. Or I have this brown. If you wanted to use something different, you could also coordinate it with a different kind of color. So I think we will use, do we want the blue one? Maybe? No, that's just not the right color blue. We're going to use the brown one here. It's already got some ink and things on it. So before I start gluing these together, I'm just going to ink around my edges of my 2 paper pieces. And again, this is just 6x6 that I cut at 2.5 inches, I believe, is what it was. 2 inches would be 5, and it was about half of I don't know. Anyway, you got it. 2.5 inches. Or if you want to do it an even 5 or 6 centimeters, if you are measuring in metrics. It doesn't matter as long as your front piece and your back piece are the same width and your paper is cut and folded at the same width as your pieces. So it would not make any difference what size paper you used, how the width of it. You just make it decide. If you make this 3 inches, then make your paper 3 inches. It's designed to hide the paper inside this, and it will simply look like a decorated belly band without it. You really do not need to ink up the bottom because it is going to be stuck down. So no need to ink it. In fact, you could just simply use whatever you wanted. Now I'm going to put the blue up in case any shows around. So I think I just put my hand in my ink. No, I didn't. So I am going to go ahead and ink it, and I'm going to ink the tab as well while I have my ink out here inking. And then we'll see if we have some things we could decorate it with. I've got things here. I didn't really pull anything out specific. However, I do have some things that I think might work here. We'll see. Okay, now we got them both inked. Bottom one, okay, I don't think I'm getting this side here. No, I got it, just not to my satisfaction. There we go. So now I have that. If you want to go ahead and come along and ink your paper, this is just a piece of paper. I honestly cut it. I think it's 8.5 by 11 length. And I simply folded it in half. And then I folded this piece back. And I folded this piece back. And that gave me my 2.5 inches to match my cardstock. So my paper must have been 4 times 2.5 would make it 10 inches to start with. 6 by 10. So if you're using your 6 by 6 cardstock and folding it, you don't really want to use heavy. You want to use something lighter because you want it to be able to write on it, and you want it to be a bit flexible when you go to pull it out, and you don't want a lot of bulk in your journal. So I'm just going to ink my edges of my papers so that way when they're folded out. Now that piece is going to be glued down, so I'm not real worried about other than this edge. However, I do want to come along and I want to ink this edge. So I'm going to pull those back to where I just have my halfway fold, and I'm going to ink along here, both directions. Just kind of divides my paper up a bit, and you will see this one. So I'm just simply going to run a little down through here, and I'm going to fold it over on itself again. Let's get this one back where it goes though, so we don't get confused. Do the same thing on this side. Didn't get that one, so let's get this side because it's the side that's going to be up. Oops. And I didn't do a very good job of it, so let's try that again. And do I want the top edges? Yeah. And now I got myself so confused. I don't know what will be showing and what won't. So let me get a little more ink on my dauber, and I'm just going to ink around the whole thing. Because I'm not sure what I'm doing now. Without stopping and thinking, and I don't want to mess myself up here. So let's see. That's going to go down. So we can get this side on the top. We want this inked up, and we want to ink down this edge. Actually, I guess I'm figuring it out as I go here. And if I forget one, I'll come back in there with another little piece of paper. We'll do it that way. So let's just go ahead and ink across here. Just want to make my paper look a little older, a little grungier kind of. So we're going to ink along this bottom and down this side. We got to go back here and get the middle. Let's do that before we do the side, since we jumped to something else, or I jumped to something else. There we go. I say we like I have a mouse in my pocket. You're probably saying, you and what other person is there? You keep saying we, and there's nobody there but you. That's just what I say when I'm doing my videos. And I owe you guys an apology. I tried out editing my video with CapCut because I wanted to edit it on my phone, and I haven't been able to figure out my phone's editing software yet. So I wanted to edit. I downloaded CapCut, and I'm trying, you know, the trial version. They give you, what, 7 days or something like that to try it. But I don't like how the video came out. You probably noticed that it's got sides and skinnier. It was my one prior to this, day 85, decorating my journal. I'm giving you lots of tips and tricks. So yeah, I don't know what happened or why it did that. I even tried to go back and on my phone and figure it out, and I still couldn't get it figured out. So this one we are now going to glue down to our back piece first. So I'm going to cover this side of my paper that I didn't ink. We'll cover the back of it with glue. I'm using Aleene's Permanent Industrial Strength Glue Stick. I like when they say industrial strength. Apparently this is supposed to hold pretty much anything that you can glue with glue stick. I think it'll even, it claims it will do fabric and ribbons and those things, though I have not. I'm not sure if I've tried it on those things, so I'm really not sure on that one. Maybe we'll try it here in the near future, and I'll have to let you know. So I'm going to put this down evenly and as straight as I can on my cardboard piece here. It's cut just to fit, I'm pretty sure. Yep, so we'll put that down there like that. And I like using the glue stick because I can slide it around once I get the paper down. See how it slid on me when I was putting it down there? But you use a glue stick if you're quick enough. Even if it doesn't slide on you, you can pull it back up usually. Most of the time. Even with this one, you can pull it back up. There we go. Now that should be even. There we go. Alright, that's good. And that is the part I actually picked for the front. So we just covered the front rather than the back. And it really doesn't matter which way you do this. So we're going to put this one on the back side here. Doesn't matter whether you put your paper on the glue or the cardstock. So let's put it on the paper. And then I'll lay the cardstock piece right down on top of it. I think that was easier when I did the other one that way. You want to be careful if you're gluing something like this down and your cardboard is actually smaller or bigger. You always want to glue the smaller of your two items because there might be places on your big one that you do not want that glue to be. So I am just making these even so that you can't notice that it is even a fold out belly band. Okay. So now you have this. You can trim it if you need to. Can't really trim your sides, but you can certainly trim the top or bottom. I'm just going to run my inker along through here and just kind of ink these a bit. Get across there like that. And do the same thing on the top. And now let's find the tab we laid. Here's our tab. So I want this, oops, don't fall on the floor, Dauber. I'm fetching my dauber. Yeah. So much for that one. We'll get past this one. I don't want to stop and use anything to grab and pick that up at this point because the only thing I have left to ink is my dauber. So I'm going to cut my glue, cut both of my glues. And I'm going to ink this with my ink pad. And all I'm going to do is take my brown cardstock and I'm just going to rub it along the edge of my ink. If you don't have distress inks, which I probably just got all over my lap. Anyway, if you don't have distress inks, you can use markers and just kind of go around the edges of your papers. Yeah. It's a little harder to get your, the distressy look with an ink pad. See, I just did that there, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry too much. And I don't mind the extra inky because this one's already extra inky. So I really don't care that I did that. And then I'm just going to ink this on the top. So I've got ink across there. Let's do this way again. There, I like how that did. And then I'm just going to take this tab and we're going to glue it down here. On here, so that once this is glued down on the bottom, it will glue down to a page. It will flip out like this, or it will flip out like that, and you have the whole piece that you can do any kind of writing on you'd like. And you can just use this piece as like a pull tab to indicate there's something there. You could use any kind of a tab on here. You could even use a fussy cut if you wanted to use a fussy cut, a ticket. Whatever you would like. You could use a fabric tab. Choice is yours. Make whatever, do it in your style. I'm just giving you the basic things to look at and think about. If anybody has any further unique belly band ideas, please share below. I've got one more that I'm going to share with you in my video tomorrow. For tomorrow. My glue is clogging again. I don't understand how it'll let glue come out. Oh, there it goes. And then there must be a piece in there that's thicker and just not wanting to come out on its own. Well, it's cloudy here today, but at least we have no rain, and it's going to get up to 75. That's good news. Hadn't quite made it there yet, but it's still got several more hours before supper time to heat up more. Okay, then we're just going to put this on here like this, and there we have it. It'll glue down to a page in my journal. And again, I don't know if I'm going to embellish it or not. We want to put this one in this first signature somewhere. Let's put it, I don't want that on an orange page. Where do we want it? That's good writing paper. Ooh, let's put it, what if we put it down on here? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I can come back and I'm just going to glue this. Remember, you're only gluing the top and bottom. I can come back and embellish and add to this at any point in time I'd like. So be sure you're gluing your back down and not the front. It's a good way to know where your front is to have the tab on it, unless you've embellished it further than I have mine. I did say we were going to decorate this, but I think you all know you decorate in your own style, and you see how I decorate a lot of times when I'm doing just working in my journal, so everybody's got their own decorating style. And it looks like my paper is just barely sticking up here at the top. So I'm going to come along and try to trim off this least little bit up here. I know I inked it, but I don't like, no, I didn't like how that did there. And I'll probably come back and maybe put a little more ink on there later on when I have my dauber here to do that without using my ink pad. So let's see, it did clot up that time. I'm going to put a little bit more glue down here because I don't trust it. Come back tomorrow. I've got a very unique type of belly band that I would like to share with you. So come back tomorrow for my next video and check it out. I'm a little off here at the top too, I guess. So let's trim this end a wee bit. Or is this the one we already trimmed on the other side? I don't know. Well, we're going to trim on this side too. And it sounds like, or feels like I'm getting cardstock, but that's alright. Just needed to take a wee little bit there that we're showing. That's good. Okay, then let's put this down across here. And I'll get this glued down on my page. Trying to put a lot of writing spots in this journal. I like to write. I've never written in a junk journal. So I'm not sure how I will use this one. But I'm kind of a very practical person, so I'm sure I will find some use for it. I feel like if I spent time making it, I gotta give it to somebody or use it for something. So there we go. Now we have that belly band in here. So there are at least 3 different types of belly bands. Tomorrow I'm going to come back and show you a 4th method. So you join me in my video tomorrow. And if you are a new subscriber, welcome, welcome. We're up to 210. We're getting closer and closer, little by little. We're jumping up to where we hopefully will be at 1,000 subscribers. My goal is, what did I tell you? My birthday on October 1st. Hopefully we can get there by then. And if not, maybe we can get there by Christmas. So please like, subscribe, and share. If you have any comments, I love your comments, and I do reply unless I miss your comments. So if you ever reply and I don't, please send me a note or something so that I can correct myself. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye for now.